Today we are going to create a Mexican folk art sun and moon inspired artwork. Sun and moon imagery has appeared in artwork throughout Mexican history dating back to the Aztecs who built pyramids to the sun and moon gods. The imagery of sun and moon symbolism has been passed down through the generations and still appears in modern-day Mexican folk art. The sun symbolizes firmness, strength, and power using the warm colors of red, yellow, and orange, while the moon represents calmness, beauty, and nurturing using the cool colors of blue, green, and purple. When the sun and the moon appear together, it symbolizes the unity of opposites and balance. Today we're going to use this special paper to create our artwork, which will then be sent away to be turned into stickers. And we're going to keep all of our coloring below this black line. So try not to get any color or lines up there. So the first thing we're going to do to create our Mexican inspired sun and moon artwork is to draw a circle. And I'm not very good at drawing circles. So I'm going to use a tool, yogurt container lid, and I'm going to use it to trace to make my circle. And as we want all of our details to be, our big details to be in the center, I'm going to make sure it's in the center, try to make sure it's pretty equal around. And you're going to hold down the lid one hand and trace with the other. And I'm going to start here and put it right up against the lid and trace around without lifting it off to finish the circle. The sun is going to be the front of the face and the moon is going to be the side or profile of the face. And to do this, we're going to start by separating the two with drawing our nose. So towards the center, we're going to make our nose shape. Now to finish separating it out, there are two ways that we can draw our lines for our crescent. The first would be to free draw, and I would suggest that you maybe trace it with your finger first and see what kind of arc you would like. Kind of do that to get an idea of where you would like to draw before you do it with your permanent pen. And the other way would be to use our lid. And I'm going to show you both. Here I'm going to line up my lid and you can see I just have the bit of the nose peeking out there. So once you have it there and you can barely see that piece of the nose, I'm going to just take this and draw all the way up and stop at the line of my circle. So now that we've got our upper part of our moon, I'm going to show you kind of how to draw the lower part. So I'm going to, put my Sharpie down, and I'm just going to take my finger and kind of make that arc of where I kind of want the bottom part of my crescent before I start, so I have an idea. You could, again, use this and just put your Sharpie right along here and trace that again. Or if you feel comfortable, you can make the arc just like that. The next thing we want to do is we want to draw our eyes. The sun is during the day, so we're going to draw this one with our eye open. And we're going to go up a little bit from the nose and over to about the middle of the sun section. And I'm just going to draw a line like that to be the top of the eye, and a line here, kind of a bit of a football or egg shape to make the open eye. And then we're going to draw the insides of the eye by drawing two little lines like that. And then we're going to put the black center of your eye. You can also maybe add some eyelashes. So during the day we're awake, but at night usually asleep. So we're going to draw this one with the eye closed. So we're just going to draw the bottom half of the eye like this, like it's shut. And remember how I said that the sun is the front side of the face? So we're going to draw the mouth, the lips there, and it's going to be a shape kind of like that for the top lip. And like this for the bottom lip. And we're just going to draw a line in there to show that there's two lips. Now this one is the side of the face, so we don't see the full lips. We just kind of see the edge here. So we're just going to draw a line like that. So now we have our awake sun, our sleeping moon complete. And as we do this, we're going to want to keep our warm side and our cool side separate. So I'm going to divide my paper in half. So I'm going to draw a line here and about here. So over here, I'm going to use the warm colors of the sun, and over here, the cool colors. I'm going to start by just drawing some lines to be like the rays coming out, zigzag lines. So I'm going to add a few here. And maybe I want to add some kind of pointy rays coming out this way. So we can do this on this side, but this kind of shows a little bit more action and strong lines this way. So on this side, we're gonna kind of do more calm and soothing lines. Maybe some like gentle, like waves on a river. We're just gonna kind of continue those out, coming across. So now that we have our lines drawn, we're going to find a place to add our name, our signature to our art piece to show that we are the artist. And we need to make sure that we keep it away from the edges, so at least a couple of fingers away from the edges. And I would suggest that you maybe pick a line in here and maybe put it there. So like I'm going to pick, this looks like a pretty big space here. So I'm going to turn here and I'm going to write my name right here. And I'm going to try to write neatly and a little bit smaller to make sure it stays away from the edge. If you write big, you might want to just use your first initial, which would be the first letter of your name and maybe the first letter of your last name, because we want to make sure that we keep it away from the edge. And once you have drawn your face of your sun and your moon and your details around the edge, volunteers will come by and get your Sharpie to give you your next medium. The next thing you're going to get is going to be your oil pastels. And we're going to use these to add color. And we're going to use on our sun side the warm colors of orange, red, and yellow to kind of keep that warm feeling, and maybe even this peach or a brown, but those warm colors in your basket. So I'm going to start to add color to my sun. And I'm going to just kind of add color around my edge, keeping here. So we've now kind of created our own coloring book, and we're just going to kind of color it in. But oil pastels are a little bit different than normal crayons, even though they look a little bit like it, is that we can use, in the next step, we can use something to blend the colors together. So we don't have to worry about getting it exactly how we want it or making sure that it's super colored in at the moment. You want to get most of it colored, but you don't have to get it like completely covered all the way. I used my red, and now I'm going to transition into my orange. And you can see, again, I'm not pressing really hard to completely cover it. I still have a little bit of white showing. And then now I'm going to go into my yellow, and I'm going to get yellow here in the center. And now that we've used our warm colors on our sun side, we're going to transition to our cool colors on this side. And in these pastels, the colors that you can use for your cool colors would be your blues and your greens in here to make your cool colors. And again, I'm going to kind of just start with my darker color and work to my lighter color in the middle. And again, just kind of putting color down. And I don't have to press really hard. Like I don't have to like color it all the way in like that. That might be a little bit strong on the color when we get to the next step. Kind of has to be a little bit, but not too much. When I'm not using it, I put it back in the basket to make sure it doesn't roll off of our desk. And then I'm going to continue to put my color in on the sides here as well. And remember here at the edges to make sure that we are keeping our cool colors out of our warm color area. Okay, now that you've gotten the areas pretty much covered with color, look for maybe any areas that might have big white spots. But the next step will kind of blend some of that out. Once you have it how you would like with it mostly covered, you're going to, a volunteer will come and collect your oil pastels, and you will get your next supplies, which are this black cup that has a little bit of oil in the bottom and some Q-tips. We are going to use these Q-tips like paintbrushes today. And this oil is going to break down the oil pastels, and it's going to turn it into like a liquid paint. So it's going to have a reaction with that. So we want to use one Q-tip for kind of our colored areas, like our yellow areas, our red areas. I'm going to start here in the center and I'm going to work my way out so I'm not putting my hand in the oil. And I'm just going to kind of blend this, and you'll see in a minute how this blends. And then as we get into our orange areas, you'll see that areas that maybe were a little rough and a little like polka dotty now are blending into a smooth paint type texture. Now, if your Q-tip is not wanting to move very much, it might be time to dip it back into the oil. And you can see I'm kind of following the shape that I've drawn. Now I'm just going to keep following along that line and making sure when we're getting close to our dividing line between our sun and our moon that we are keeping right on the edge and not going into our cool colors when we're working on our warm colors, because otherwise we'll start blending those colors. We just want to blend our warm colors right now. So now that we've done our warm colors, we can transition to our cool colors. And I'm just going to go through here and I'm going to start in the middle with my lighter areas and I'm going to work out to my darker areas. And again, I'm following along the shape, the contour of my moon shape here to make sure that those lines follow that shape. And any lines that are created are going to add to the shape of my moon. And remember, as we're close to our colors, to be really careful and work slowly as we're close to our line, our transition between our sun and our moon, so that we don't mix our warm and cool colors. So once you have all of your colors blended, you want to make sure that there isn't any big white areas. If you notice a little bit of white, like at the edges, you can take it and just kind of blend it out. And once you have it all, when you're happy with how it looks, a volunteer will go and we will put it on the drying rack. Now, right now you can kind of see that there is some oil standing on the top and the paper looks a little bit oily. But once it is dry, that oily appearance disappears and you're left with an artwork that looks somewhat like this. So we hope you enjoy experimenting with oil pastels today.